I just thought I'd do a little small talk on behind the book, really. Where is it? Here it is. So I think Jane is probably the newest person to see this, but for those of you that have or not seen my book, there we are. This is the latest edition, the latest cover, so I'm very pleased that that came in time, bearing in mind that the designer is also working on a ship, and the trials and tribulations of which are getting internet and wanting to send an email, oh it's not going to send, you can't get online, and it's a bit of a nightmare. So some of the things that we take for granted on land, we have lots of different challenges. So I'm just so grateful that that came in time today. So how many people have actually ever wanted to be on a cruise ship? Helen, okay. How many people have been on a ship? You two have.
Oh, I wouldn't have you in.
But you still went on it, okay. And I understand from Jane that you were looking at considerably working on there at some point. Yes, yeah. Indeed. Very good. Well, this was the very first ship that I got to go on. This is by Royal Caribbean, and it's the Legend of the Seas. And I was lucky that I remember this was 2006, and I was looking for a holiday, and I was not planning it, if I'm honest, because that's probably one of my downfalls at the time. And I decided I want to go on holiday. I want to go on my own because nobody was available to come with me. So I thought, okay, what kind of a holiday? And at the time, my neighbours, Betty and Brian, the lovely Betty and Brian, they, Michelle, you need to go on a cruise, you need to go on a cruise. So when I realised this, I thought that'd be a cool idea. It's nice and safe, you know, I think, okay, well, I can visit lots of different countries. I really wasn't bothered where we went. I just thought, okay, I'll go on it. And needless to say that actually turned out to be one of the best holidays I ever had. And that was my home for 2 weeks. It was really cool. We went around the Mediterranean. And I don't think I had any expectations of the cruise itself, and I just went because it was a holiday and I was just quite pleased to be around lots of different people, and that was quite a nice thing to do. On that holiday there was lots of things I kept seeing where people, oh, you should work on a ship, you should work on a ship, and I'm thinking, oh, that'd be really cool, that'd be really cool, but I wasn't quite ready to do it. So 2 years fast forward, I was ready. I thought, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to have a go. And needless to say, I say that quite a bit, that's one of my words, needless to say, okay. I have now just completely forgotten what I was going to say. I was doing all right there, it all put me off. What can I blame? Yeah, I know, nervous.
Sure, there's a big picture of you as entertainment.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was just going to come to that, but I was going to read from the book. So, what does everybody think to the uniform? How attractive is that?
Not very.
No. It's funny because when I showed some of the people that I worked with on princess ships, they all turned around and went, I can't believe it's as hideous as that. They thought theirs was bad, but when they saw mine, well, not that great. And not that all of you will be aware of this, but I had to work and DJ in this uniform. How hot was I in the nightclub? Less the hat and less the scarf, but as you see it, that's what I had to DJ in, okay? So if I'd have known that, I'd probably said, no, definitely not, I'm not doing that. But it was I had a fun time. I got told off for being too overpowering on the gangway. So as I'm welcoming people onto the ship, I mean, for most of you that know me, I'm very, I want to get people welcome on, I want to get them excited for the holiday, and I was really happy that they were joining the ship. But of course, what happened was that I got, no, you can't do that, Michelle, you can't do that. Like people don't want that, But then when they were gone, I did it. And it worked really well, they liked it. So that was that was the uniform that I wore. I had lots of, I would say some of the moments that really stand out for that ship was actually meeting some, well, probably, I think there'd be C or D listed celebrities. One of them being, I've forgotten her name now, the famous Charlie Dimmock. Yeah? She
Lady
was on
Gardner.
one cruise. Lady what?
Lady Gardner.
Lady Gardner, yeah, all right. Not being a gardener or programme watcher, so thank you, Dad. What I liked about her particularly is that she gave me £40 tip.
Did you know?
Yes, I thought I was clearly, and all I did was play songs that she asked for. I thought, well, that's no skin on mine, I can do that, that's fine. So that was one of the good times. Another person that I met, does anybody watch Brookside, or did watch Brookside? I don't even know if it's still on, to be honest, probably not. Sinbad, the character. You may recognise him. In fact, it's on that one. There we
He
are.
was in something else as well, though, wasn't
Pardon?
he? He was in something else.
Possibly so. So, you may recognise him. He was on the ship, but I didn't get any tips from him.
He went on Corian for holiday.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, just some of these pictures are just random people that I met and I got acquainted with while I was away. This was a wedding that I did at the time, and what I liked particularly about them is they introduced me to a song. They asked me for a song, and I actually really liked it. I'd never heard of it, and it's the Travelling Wilburys, End of the Line, if anybody's heard of it. Yeah? Roy Orbison, somebody from ELO, I don't remember who they
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember. No, I can't remember. So that they, for me, stand in my mind. That song reminds me of their holiday really, because it was all about them. Well, these were the Caribbean parties. How would you like to work in one of them costumes? Bit random. And then this is just family that came on board that I spent some time with, and we hung around together. I spent a bit of money and things you do, I guess, when you're on holiday.
I love Floella Benjamin, don't forget Floella.
Oh, you know, that was, thank you, Dad. That was the one I wanted to remember. I got luckily got a call from my, the cruise director who said, we've got, well, if you can, some of you might even know not who it is. There was an old children's presenter on, go on, Di, what was it? The programme, do you remember? Play Away or Play School?
Play School.
Play School, yeah. And Floella Benjamin was the children's presenter. I got wind that she was coming on the ship, and she says, we need somebody to escort her onto the ship. And I thought, that's so cool, that's so cool. So personally escorting her was just greeting her at the gangway as she came in, and I took her to her cabin. Unfortunately, that particular week, 2 days previously, she'd just found out that her mum had died. So, and her mum was actually supposed to be with her on a cruise, so it was quite a sad time for her. So I did my comforting thing as you do, and I spent time with her and made sure that the flowers were there. So that was a really nice thing to actually personally get to greet her on. That was the best. That was my favourite celebrity. Other pictures include, I have to say, there's some really very funny moments. We do. On the P&O ships that I was doing, it was part of the sail away, and it was a British sail away every time we left from Gibraltar. And so, of course, somebody decided that it'd be great fun to put this little boy with all the flags, and he looks really happy, doesn't he? I don't think I'd be that happy, bless him. And then some old ladies that I met and people, and this was my cabin, my first cabin. If you can quite see. What's interesting is that even though I changed ships throughout my time on the sea, what I found is that the cabins didn't really change. Pretty much standard throughout, no matter whether it's a British or an American ship. The main, even with the PowerPoints, because on the American ships you've got more, even though they're, I always get confused, the two straight pins for the American, isn't it? Yeah. They have more of the European ones on than they do the straight pins one, which I find a bit strange. So that was my cabin. I got ever so used to it, and I miss my cabin, it's nice and small. And again, these are just some random pictures. I mean, I couldn't not take a picture of this one. Don't know the guys, but they were just doing something very strange and interesting on the beach, so I took a picture quite simply. And Tower of Pisa, and some monkeys on the top of the rock. Can you see the pictures better all over here? One of my favourite times, Acapulco. I got to release the baby turtle into the ocean. That was really sweet. And there was hundreds of them. We were all lining up. And we were all given a turtle, and then we just released it basically onto, and that became my favourite beach. Who would like to be there?
I presume they were quite happily making their own way to the sea, and
Yeah.
someone picked them up.
Yeah. But yeah, when I saw that picture, so picturesque. Who would like to escape there? Yeah.
Yes.
Anybody? Yeah. Very very nice. And there was quite a lot of us on this tour, so surprisingly it was just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then Monte Carlo, I think you may remember, Dad, when I was saying about the Grand Prix, walking the Grand Prix track. It was quite exciting. It seems like so long ago though now. So that's just some of them on the first ship that I went on, the first company that I worked for. And then I went over to let me tell you this one. This is funny. I go on tours with people, with passengers. And of course, it gets a bit exhausting at times. So a nice passenger kind of took this one of me. thought I'd like a copy of it. Well, well, whatever, you know. Hey, I'm only normal. I'm only human even. So that was that.